Hi, welcome to this typical Muler production. Today's video is on mule deer on the winter range, and got a great video for you. It's a little long. It's over 30 minutes long, but there's a lot of deer. I had to cut a lot of footage. There is a big 200-inch buck that you'll like to see. I saved him for the end, so you have to watch the whole video to see him. But so come along with me and let's watch deer on the winter range. Trident. This is a cool buck that I saw, one of the first bucks I saw out on the winter range, and I named him, as you can see, because he's just kind of a glorified 2-point. He does have that one kind of sticker on the one side, but just a cool buck. I'm pretty sure this is a buck I've seen in the past years, but not 100% sure. I can't tell if he's an older buck or a younger buck. Not quite sure. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether he's a younger or older deer. I think he's just a younger deer. I think he's like a 3 or 4 year old, but he could be an older deer too that's regressing. Yeah, so just let me know in the comments. This next buck is a buck I call Trident. I call him Trident. He's just a big 3-point with eye guards. I call him Trident because the first time I saw him, he was with Trident, and so I just thought that was a fitting name for this buck. And this sequence right here is a sequence where he was with Trident, and just a really cool buck. Just an awesome, big 3-point, and there's Trident right there. And yeah, these two are just hanging out together. And I did see Trident with the big 200-inch buck that I'll show you at the end of this video, and he was with CC Plus. I call that buck. He was with him also, and you'll see a clip of him with CC Plus at the end of the video. As you can see, Trident's just a pretty 3-point, got a big frame, good back forks. His main beams might be a little short, but not too bad. Yeah, just a beautiful buck. His main beams are fairly long too, so just a cool buck. This next clip of Trident is, I just caught him out in the middle of this field, and he was just along this fence here feeding, pawing at the field. Just a cool sequence of him. Just a cool buck. This next buck I call Crabby, and his left side is broken. His main beam on his left side is broken. His other side front has a just crabby claw, and his back on his left side is kind of crabby, so that's where he got his name from. And he's a cool buck. He's another buck that I saw with with CC Plus, that 200-inch buck. Just a beautiful deer, good frame, just horrible forks. Cool buck, kind of a mature, older buck. You can see he's a mature buck. He's got that big old roly-poly belly and huge brisket area and a swayed back, so he's an older buck. But I just caught him this one day. He was in this little ravine and I caught him, and then the next time I caught him he was laying out in this open field up on a ridge, and just a cool buck. Just like you can see, his main beam's broke there, and he's got some crabby forks, but just a cool buck. Beautiful mule deer. This next buck is a 160, and I have history with this deer. I've seen this deer 3 years in a row out on the winter range now, and this year he kind of sprouted a little bit, gained like 10 inches or so. He might be low 170s now, just a nice buck. He's got good front forks. His back forks are just okay. His G2s aren't really long, but they're not bad. He's got good eye guards though. He's a beautiful buck, and if you want to see more footage of him, I do have a film from last year on him, so go check that out. And then here he is, just laying in that open field. He was out there with Crabby, laying in this open field. Cool buck, a buck like I said I have history with, and he's one of my favorites. And on his one side there, he grew an extra. He's just a cool deer. And this is a clip of him with Trident, and they're just out in this open field and pawing for food. And there's quite a few deer out here in this footage. Some little bucks and some does, and there's Trident right there behind him. So this is just kind of a good comparison of him and Trident. You can see how big of a frame Trident has. He's got a pretty big frame. And this is a buck I called Dropper. He was in my Mule Deer Rut video. Go check that video out. He was in that too. But this buck, I think, is just a young buck. At most, he's 3.5. I think he's 2.5 personally. He's just got really good potential. He's got a crabby front fork there, but he's got a couple droppers and he's fairly wide. I think this buck could turn out to be a real stud. Just a cool deer, cool rutting sequences here. Beautiful buck. Got some great footage of him. And this footage was taken mid-December. I think December 17th was the actual day, and he was still out rutting these does. Just putting on a show. He's got a kind of got a cool frame. You know, his fronts come out wider than his backs, and you know, he's fairly wide out past his ears. Kind of a boxy frame, just kind of cool. Cool deer. Got eye guards. Like I said, I think this buck has real potential. He's definitely not a very old deer. This is a buck I call a good 3. He's kind of narrow, but he's heavy. He's just a cool buck. I think he's a mature buck. He just doesn't have, you know, those genetics to produce, you know, the big, high, wide stuff. But you can see he's pretty cool. He's got pretty long G2s and awesome brow tines. He's just a cool buck. Just a cool 3-point buck. This is a buck I call the Young 4, and I caught him along the road just feeding in this clip, and he was sitting here feeding, and another car had stopped, and there were these guys yelling at him, just being stupid. If you're one, please don't do that. These deer have a hard enough time in the winter as it is. You don't need to spook them for no reason. You know what I mean? Just give them the respect and watch them and just enjoy them. They're beautiful animals. And this buck, he's just a classic 4-point. Not a real old deer, probably a 3-year-old. Just a cool deer. Cool buck. And just your nice, average, you know, typical mule deer. Not real wide, but got decent forks. And this clip here, got another clip of him. He was up on a hillside feeding on some bitter brush, and just a cool short clip of him. Just a beautiful buck. This is a buck I call High and Tight. I just have a couple short clips of him. He's just a cool, kind of freaky looking buck. Just like a mainframe 3-point with a bunch of stickers. Just a cool deer. Mature deer. Nice buck, probably 4 or 5-year-old. And this is a series of bucks that I caught out in the snowstorm. And this first one here is a really good 3-point with eye guards. It's got a cool frame. Big frame. Decent back forks. Decent main beam, good eye guards, just a beautiful 3-point. And this next buck's just kind of a narrow 4-point, kind of heavy, probably a 3 or 4-year-old deer. Just has that narrow, compact frame genetic, and just a cool buck. Just a beautiful, you know, average mule deer. And then there's this couple other deer out in the field with him. You know, so just some cool bucks. Then this one's a pretty nice 4-point he kind of has crabby front forks, but nice frame, good back forks, good eye guards, fairly wide, not real wide, but tall, good G2s. Just a beautiful buck, beautiful mature deer. And this next buck, I wish I would have got a front view of him, but I just got a side and a back view of him. He's got a cool frame, pretty wide deer. Again, front forks aren't the best, but his back forks are really good. Fairly wide, really tall, good G2s. He was just feeding with this other buck back behind him. And this buck's a freaky 3-point. He looks a lot like High and Tight, but this isn't High and Tight. This is a different deer, and I just like the look of him. Just a freaky 3-point. And there's a lot of deer on this winter range that have kind of this tall, narrow, glorified 2 or 3-point. It's a genetic that's fairly prevalent in this area. This is a buck I call Laid Out, and as you can see, he's fairly wide, but he's just a laid out buck, and he reminds me a lot of a buck that was on the winter range last year I called the Wide 4. This buck's basically just a younger version of him. He's probably only a 3.5-year-old. And this buck I call the Broken G3, and his left side, his G3 is broken off, and he's just a beautiful young buck. Nothing special about him, just your average mule deer buck, 3.5-year-old deer. He might be 2.5, but I think he's 3.5. And just your average beautiful mule deer buck. And in this clip, there's a couple other bucks with him. The one in the very back is a buck I call the 3x4. And you will see a later clip of him. And this other one's just a little young 2.5-year-old narrow 3-point. And just some cute, cool deer here. Some good footage. This next clip of him is the best footage I got of him, and I don't know what's going on with him. He kind of has like some eye infection or something going on with just some goop in his eye. And actually the last clip of CC Plus had this same thing going on with his eye too. And this is a series of bucks I call the fence line bucks. This first one here, he was missing his right side, and I think it was just broken off. I don't think it was shed, because this was still late December. I don't think he'd shed it. I think you can kind of see it was broken off near the base there, but it could be shed. I couldn't tell. Just a beautiful buck though. If he had his other side, he'd be a beautiful 4-point. Just a cool buck. And this buck is a really nice buck, and he could have been one from the snowstorm buck footage. He could have been that crabby clawed 4-point, but I'm not 100% sure if he is or not. But just a beautiful buck, really tall, good back forks, long G2s, just a beautiful 4-point mule deer. If I had to guess score-wise, probably say upper 160s to low 170s. And this buck's a stud right here. This is a nice 4-point buck right here. He's got, the just good all-around forks. I mean, they're not great, but they're good. And he's just a stud. He's definitely in the 170s. maybe 180, but probably in the 170s. Just big, mature 4-point buck, and he turns right here in this clip, and you can kind of see his width and his frame better, and he's a good buck. Yeah, look at that. He's a stud. He's a good buck. Just another big, mature 4-point. Then I kind of give you a look at all three of them. And this is the 3x4 that I showed in the earlier clip. And I caught him feeding on this juniper tree. And he's just a beautiful, beautiful buck. Fairly heavy. I think he's a 4-year-old. I mean, there's nothing awesome about him, but just your average, 150s mule deer. Cool buck. One that most guys would be happy to take. Yeah, just a beautiful deer. Beautiful mature buck. Here he is. I caught him in this field, and he didn't like being out in the open that much, so he wanted to get back across the road, and so he kind of scampered up the road. And here he is. After he got across the road, he went up a little ways and laid down, and got some more footage of him just bedded in the snow. And this is a buck I call Boxy. Really beautiful 4-point buck. Awesome frame. His back forks could be better, and his front forks could be better, but overall, just a beautiful buck. Awesome frame. He's got eye guards. Big mature 4-point. Yeah, when he turns right here, you can see just a beautiful deer. Beautiful deer that most guys, including myself, this is a trophy deer for me. Yeah, everybody wants to shoot the 200-incher, but man, just a buck like this, big, mature, good width, good height, boxy looking buck, just a beautiful deer. Beautiful deer. Probably got that 28-inch, 28-inch frame, just beautiful. He was just out feeding in this field. But I caught a lot of those bucks in that snowstorm. He was in that same field on a different day. And he's a beautiful buck. This is a heavy 4. This is a beautiful 4-point buck. This deer is definitely high 170s, maybe 180. In the 180s, just a heavy, nice 4-point. One of the prettiest 4-points you'll see. This is a beautiful buck. I caught him on this winter morning, just out walking along this fence line, and he's just taking his time. Big, mature mule deer. I mean, look at that frame. And then here's some more clips of him kind of from the side and stuff, so you can get another look at him. I apologize. By the time he stopped and he was out there quite a ways, probably 300, 400 yards out there. And just a beautiful deer. Had a really good frame, really good tine length. He's good everywhere. He has no weakness. You know, he's got eye guards. Here he jumps the fence. Oh, what a beautiful deer. A lot of these bucks, I notice, a lot of these bucks in this area don't have the really white face. Like a lot of them, like this dude, have dark faces with just like a little bit of their muzzle white. Even though they're mature bucks, they have, you know, that darker face. And here finally is CC Plus, and this is a beautiful deer. Just look at that buck. He has 7 points on each side. That's not including his eye guards. He has, off of his main beam on both sides, he has Crabby forks. He's got cheaters off of his G3s on both sides. Just a beautiful buck. 2 cheaters off of his G3 on both sides. Here's a closer view of him. You can see that Crabby fork coming off of his main beam. I mean, he's not really wide. He's probably only like 28 wide. But man, just the tine length on this buck is ridiculous. Deep forks. Just beautiful buck. Long tines, long G2s, long G3s, long G4s, long main beams, and then the extras definitely put this buck over 200 inches, and that's how he got his name, CC Plus, because Roman numeral wise C is 100, so CC means 200, and plus 200 plus. That's how I gave him his name. Just a cool buck. A beautiful buck. The biggest buck I definitely saw out on the winter range this year. And I got quite a bit of footage of him. And here he is with Crabby. See Crabby's broken main beam there. And he's definitely, CC Plus is the dominant buck out here. He kind of pushes Crabby around here. I mean, not like uber aggressive, but you can tell that CC Plus is the dominant buck here. And I don't think CC is really old. I think he may be 5. If I had to guess his age, 5.5. No more than 6, I don't think. I don't think he's older than 6. So he's not uber old buck. He's just starting into his prime, I think. So he could potentially get even bigger than what he is now, which is ridiculous. He's just a beautiful big mule deer buck. And here comes another little young buck. It's feeding with him. Yeah, here you can see that he kind of just moves Crabby out of the way. Here's another clip of him on that same day. You see this little yearling here, been fighting with the baling wire and baling twine, and he's got it all wrapped up in his antlers. But yeah, here's a good look of him and Crabby and that other buck all together. Sorry for the shaky footage. It was a little windy this day, so trying to get my camera steady on the tripod. The whole time I was hoping to get really close footage of this buck, but the only footage I could get of him was way out in the field, way out, you know, like 300 to 700 yards away. And then finally, these last few clips I have, I finally got some close footage of him, and man, was he impressive up close, just as impressive up close as he was far away. Yeah, look at that frame on that deer. Oh, he's a beautiful buck. He broke off one of his brow tines. His other brow tine wasn't real long. It's probably only like 1.5 inches, but. And then here's the footage of him up close, and he was kind of in a little dip, and he had his head just coming over the bank when I got this footage here. And then he came up on the bank and he was following these does, and he just posed for me, gave me some awesome footage of him. Look at him. Just that is a beautiful trophy mule deer. They don't get much prettier than that. And in the comments, let me know what you think he scores. I have my idea, but I'm not the best judge of mule deer score either, but I definitely know this deer is over 200 inches, and he's just beautiful. Just those deep forks and long tines and long main beams and extras. There's no way he's not over 200. But in the comments, let me know what you think this buck scores. CC Plus is a beautiful deer. Got some Osage footage of him. Got some awesome pictures of him as well. Yeah, I was so excited when I saw him this close. I was able to get this close to him, and he wasn't really startled. He wasn't real far off the road, so there was some vehicles, and that's why they kept turning and looking, because there was vehicles coming down the road that wasn't too far off, and they kept looking that way. But yeah, he wasn't really spooked. Him and his does were just, you know, they were a little antsy, but they weren't like who were spooked. And he got up on this little knob here, and he poses with his does here for a minute. He really didn't care too much about me. You notice he didn't look at me very much. His does were paying attention to me, but he really didn't care. And if you notice right here, you can see that he has that goop in his eye, like the broken G3 had. Man, he looks so good from behind. And from the side and from the front. He just looks good no matter how you look at him. Just a beautiful mule deer. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments what your favorite bucks were and what you think about it. And what do you think about CC Plus? He's a pretty cool buck, huh? And remember to live in the moment, enjoy the memories. Thanks for watching.